I'm going to go right into talking about the perspective or the opinions from the artist side, from Thai Sounders. And I have here a guest on the call with me who's joining in. And we're going to talk a little bit about the artist side. As I mentioned yesterday on my side, I enjoyed it all. I enjoyed everything. It was a mixed emotion for me. And today we're going to end off with the perspective and from what artists wrote on their page, and then also with my guest on air. So today I have Elvis on the call with me, and thank you, Elvis, for joining me today on Chau Te Changa Tuesday. How are you doing today, Elvis?
Did I win tickets to the show?
You did not. It is way over.
What? There's no Sounders ticket? It's over? Where was I?
I know. You were long gone, busy, and you didn't even call in, and you didn't pay attention. That's why you didn't win tickets. But you had the best part of the show anyways, Elvis. You definitely had the best part of the show.
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
Exactly. You're part of the show as the MC. Can you give me
okay, I got it.
your perspective of the show as the MC?
Yes. You gotta... Is that a specific question, or you want me to
Nope. I just
ramble?
want you to ramble on. When you walked on, when DJ Sushi was playing, and then the moment you walked on, how did that feel? Were you nervous?
It was a slow start for me. No nerves. Well, I mean, probably more. That's how it goes, right? You're nervous when you're like backstage, and then once when you pop on, it just disappears. You kind of get used to that. First time really doing something back and forth with DJ Sushi, so I guess Thai wasn't really too much on my mind at that point yet. I was just, I didn't have my partner, so it was just me doing our Hmong song, Hmong Tuan Thi song, and it was short and sweet, and so I was just kind of taking it a step at a time. So I didn't think too much about the show yet at that point. It was just like, let's knock this song out, then we'll figure it out. So as everything as the song mellowed out, me and DJ Sushi did our thing, and I got into the speech, then it all kind of came, knocking on me. So at that point, I'm like, okay, let's get this part right. So.
I'm glad you did that song. I'm really glad you and Sushi did that song, because as soon as the music started, everybody was like on board. Even more. I think heads all turned as soon as that part came on. Did you guys have any practice times?
Yeah, we did. Mainly we were just working on Joe's part. We wanted to commemorate Joe just for a split second. We know this thing is for Thai, so, we didn't want to take the focus away. And like I said, this wasn't so much a performance. It was more of my intro, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
it was a great intro, by the way.
Yeah, it was like the boxing match, with the guys coming out and he's got his introduction, and then, and then he goes into the ring. So I just treated it like it was a little intro. I didn't want people to feel like I was there to perform. And then just, the fact that it's Milwaukee and, we did play the song, I figured, let's just cut my part short and we'll go into Joe, just commemorate him real quick for the city, and let's keep moving with Thai. So, there was just little hints of, moments happening there. Yeah.
Elvis, when all the artists came up, I'm going to kind of go back and forth with the show, okay? At the end, because we're talking about the front, now I'm going to go with the end, right into at the end of the show when all the artists were on stage. What was your thought about that? And seeing the crowd. As an MC, how did that make you feel? Not as an artist this time, because you were usually when you do that, you come on as an artist, but this time you came on as the MC. Seeing the MC perspective of all the artists and everybody, and then from the attendees, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep this short because I can say a whole lot about this part. I will start with the fact that if the promoters and managers did decide if I wanted to perform or if I wanted to MC, I will guarantee you that I would have kept it the same. I definitely would have chosen to MC instead. And the reason with that is, you know, when I acknowledge something and appreciate something, I'd rather be on the other side of that history. I'd rather be there to serve. And so I think, selfishly, it's like, oh, yeah, I would love to perform, but, unselfishly, it's like, no, this is Ty's moment. Let me, try to, justify this show for him as much as possible by, feeding as much limelight to him as possible. And, maybe that's hard for some people, but that came relatively easy for me. It made perfect sense that, oh, yeah, let me be the guy to do this. And I think, the promoters, they saw that coming into the show. They didn't have an MC yet, so they were uncertain about who was the right piece. And, after the show ended, they said they had no regrets and that, it was, the right fit. And I think the big reason for that, for me, is no offense to other hosts and MCs, but, I think when something is more personal and you're able to internalize it more, it comes out more honestly and efficiently. And I think with this, I think any host would have took the job, right? But it's like, but who's most passionate, who's most honest, who's most, aware of what's going on. And so for me, it was a personal thing for me, because my relation, even though I didn't know Ty, my relation with who Ty was and his position. So I think that's why I did a different job than I think most MCs would. No, if it was a different show, it could be a different outcome, right? Maybe there's an artist I'm not as passionate about. Maybe there's, a venue, maybe, it's not my city and things like that. And I might just be like, hey, I'll do it for the sake of Hmong music or, a paycheck or whatever. But this one was more, of, wanting to do it. There was a personal attachment to Ty. So with that, I'll move on to, the last moment. To me, it was kind of the same thing. I talked a lot about me and Ty's similarity, even though we're in different genres of music and have, different audiences. But the similarity with us is the impact, right? At our shows, we do a lot of the similar things, where we're performing with the younger artists and, and we always do our Hmong Tea song last and then we invite all the artists, 10, 20 people on stage with us to do Jia Bao Xia, and it's kind of this, closing, commemoration. And so, when it was done for Ty, it just brings me back to the same similarity. However, now I get to be on the other side to do it for him, and and it feels just as good, right? And so I don't have a problem with that, I think some people just always want to be praised and commemorated and then don't want to give back to the other end, but for me, I see it both ways. It's like I love to, receive and I probably love to give it back even more, to be honest. But I grew up with a lot of that, doing promotions, and hosting my own shows and things like that. There were times where I was the artist, and then there were times where I was the promoter. There was times where, it's like, look, this is my night, and you guys need to take care of me. And, that's what happens. And then there's nights where, no, don't move a finger, let me take care of you. So I got used to that. And then, and then just reminding myself, like, that ties bringing everyone together like this just kind of helps me appreciate the whole spectrum as well, on both ends. So I guess you kind of get to see yourself as a reflection. And so I guess, kind of mirroring Ty as well in that moment. Just, I don't know, it's a different kind of, it's special in its own different, unique way. So, because it's not a competition, we're doing it for the sake of, the music, the community, our futures. And so it goes both ways for me. So it was special.
Do you feel that after being an MC, it changes your perspective a little bit more on music, and when you write more music in the future, the outlook of it?
I mean, I've emceed a lot in the past. I've done a lot of public speaking and things as well, and that part of me a lot of people don't know, so they might have been a little surprised about how I got to MC this, or even why I wasn't seeing it. But it's just you have to consider that Thai and sort of from back then. So even though this show is current, but it's actually attaching everything from 30 years together. So you can't look at like what's going on today and then just be like, oh, this person's not around today, or this person's not doing this today, or blah blah. It's like all that gets put aside. This is 30 years of Hmong history. Whoever fits is what is gonna be put in. So I haven't emceed probably in over maybe 10 years. But I used to do it quite a bit, so it's not new at all. And even public speaking, it probably even longer. So, and I plan to get back into that too. So
definitely not new, but since it's been over a decade, it does it feel new again?
Not necessarily, because I think it's the compassion, that I've always had that. So. It's just more channeling that, as far as like, you've always been, passionate about artists. Like I said, no matter people, who see me as the artist and praise my accolades, I'm always a fan first. I'm always a fan first. I'm always about the music, and like I see myself as a consumer. I don't look at myself as a star. So to MC for someone, to me, is always like, like, that's what I should do,
I'm going to read what Sudden Rose posted on their page yesterday. Milwaukee, we are speechless. You showed up and threw down. There was definitely love in the air this weekend. So many memories and new friendships that we pray will last a lifetime. Thank you to Thai Sounders and your amazing team for calling on us and making this happen. There has been talk about this event being a symbol of passing of the torch. However, we have to disagree. It felt more like we were spreading the fire. If you were there, then only you know. So many amazing talents in one building, and 100% we all poured our hearts out on that stage in celebration of Thai Sounders and for our beloved fans. What do you think of that? I know you in the comments you wrote, let me read. Wow, I never heard it said this way before. That was beautifully quoted. Spreading the fire. Well, baby, let it burn them, damn it.
Let it burn? Yeah, I shared that post as well. I thought she said it beautifully. So, I mean, I feel the same way. Like I said, like, Thai is what he is to the rock world. I am what I am to the hip hop world, and so we both know we started from a generation that really didn't exist. Pioneering music in different categories. I think there's always in history, not just here in America and not just in our community, but I think there's a separation between rock and roll and hip hop, and it is what it is. I just felt like there's different treatments, because the way Ty was doing this whole show is the way I've seen it for hip hop and for our group and things for a long time now, and I always wanted to do it in this kind of setting and with this kind of audience, and with this kind of validity, and we've done it. We've done it not in the same fashion. So hats off to Ty and the team for doing it, in the way that I've always done it. Always felt that I wanted to see it done, but just couldn't get it done, or didn't build enough interest to do it in this fashion. And like I said, it's very different. I think the influence of rock and hip hop are two complete different things. I think socially, like hip hop individually is more. I always felt like it was more impactful from from a socially conscious standpoint. Individually people treat it differently. As far as change and societal impact. But I think rock and roll, from a consumer impact as a whole, there's just this bigger popularity about it where people want to see that more. And so I just felt like that opens the doors for Ty to actually do it, correctly. And only so many hip-hop artists will actually get to experience that. So, and it has happened, and so hopefully maybe one day I can, we can experience that as well. Because I have a lot of things in plans, and I've been talking to a lot of promoters as well about, how we want to do ours if that should ever happen. And so seeing Ty do it just kind of, again, spreads that fire, because I never gave up on it. I was just waiting until, like we said in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel paper, with journalist Peter Levy, we talked about that, how, now it just aligns,
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I've been seeing that should happen is now happening. It just so happens that it wasn't with my group, but, still getting in on it was great, right? It doesn't matter where, again, it's not about a competition. It doesn't matter where I fit in, even as the MC, this is about seeing it happen, that the fact that it happens is way more important than whether it happened for me or not, or anyone else, it ties what makes it work, and that's what is already going, and if that's all we ever see, period, like, yeah, great, let's push that,
Elvis, hold your thought for a second. I'm going to go on a quick break, and then we'll come back and continue the conversation, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Don't go anywhere, you guys. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Ray Michelle and Jennings Show, KBIF 900 AM Fresno.
California 知道把好个人的落袋工业有些，全部车他工业作用，落袋工有些也一好跑西，天有几包头对多我给不做做在 California。Yon dong bong lon de du lo sa lo na du da cho du ro xie lo to tian du sho tan chao mo feng wo chi zhong ba chi yi zho ge lo da yu xie wo ce zhe shui bu mo qi lia zha hao ge ta che di kong xi tao mo ding ming lo mo ge di dai wen de lo sa xi social media lo xi dan da xi dao ye se dong ji wo ha lu ba wen de nyo nya seng cho no ga di lo da gu yu xie to cho jai no dan zao tie da ge pa xi shi shai ba ổn định tận gió thiên nhiên nhã sinh có cho cứ tua lột tới học sinh California nó tua cắt tàu nuôi cho firefightersyourside.org yes about gì
đầu tư có mấy có sự sinh xử lý trái chi trồng trái cú nhia là do ý tưởng tạo ra sự năng là lên từ thì lý do ba co Kia Farmers Insurance Erosion Agency ba co bé từ agent Ero thao xong từ ba bé trên mong là tàu cầu ý lúc xong là thiết chừng有ban tàu xong rồi nhà tổng đề chỉ hai trái chi trồng trái cú nhia là do mỗi ý tưởng tạo ra sự năng bé lu agency từ tàu cọ thiết tàu ba trong lệnh thầu lò lại bên cả share cho có cho kế thì your insurance ta chỉ nó bên mua xà la đâu chế tung đi dòng hình do nó có tỷ chủ cho insurance chế là lùa là do life insurance do giống erosion agency khu bên nó đỡ chi chua lau chi chua xả lau chi chua xả California license ส่วนอี下ส่วนอี杯
那里头啥到介绍，没有介绍的那别差不，而且的而且呢，而且的切贴，一个啥到介绍呢，好多呢，七九啊，别下去，别找二找，七九啊，别下去，别找二找。Dan Carter 到我给你瞧，到你的高不用高了，你有ที่เราล้อเขารู้จัก Fresno เขาในรู้ในอินเดียเกียนี่จะเขารู้ยอว่าเขาดูดจะตัวช้า insurance company ว่าล้อซื้อlên đầu nữ qua nữ tế hậu lự nữ bao rong hành đi nữ bao ba個tế kiến nhau xia thế bao đủ ở công mua tế giả xử lý chẳng nó và chế sĩ chồng đấy tỏ luôn đó tỏ lô tế chế tỏ tế kế khử đời lô tế á lự tụ ở đó có trâu mò real estate do công mua chế sao ở lô chỉ thể là do có dùng một sao chế lúa sáng tàu có là nữ ba hải tàu cho bao rồi nó cho bao đủ criminal thế giờ có trâu mò tụi có đủ lư là nữ lư giả nữ mua bình sự ba hay tao đó chuyện nó cái chất là nữ giật đang cao sư Dan Carter tụi bạn nè chừng cho mong hai đứa mong dùng gì đó có thả sẽ là một lọ xua lúc sau sau đó giờ chỉ chua ở bê xuân chua bê chỉ đầu chỉ chua ở bê xuân
chúa bé chỉ đầu do căn trọng thọ có một cái sao xây nhau xia cho cái hai plong tu thọ nhau xia giống Dan Carter
thầu bé mới tu nên chẳng chăng nếu nó chỉ cá nhớ chỉ rồng bé sắm ba nếu lúc va lúc chế đỡ chọn đồng cỏ rồng thầu bé mới tu nên giải luôn địa tê bé sắm ba cỏ tàu đại rồng la dê ý trong này chỉ cái tên nên cha sẽ đỡ bé lúc tuột xa hùa eternal casket bé mua đồng mahogany bé mua đồng cedar khó chẳng chăng chấp lời và bé mua chọn đồng ở bé mong ý chữ sĩ chọn đồng này chọn đồng thứ xua chỉ là thứ xua mi cả ni chẳng chẳng đồng thứ xua tua bé khu tê khu chờ tua chỉ ta lên đời bé chẳng chua là dễ tí sĩ thia có nhiều cái rong go bỏ đi già bé bỏ cả tàu bỏ lên đời trục co bé yếm mong bé hai lù mong bé hai lù yong gì bé tao tao hay tê cái gia đá khuôn là bé hai niệm mong chỉ yong gì thế chỉ phăng gì giờ thì có giờ bé ít là dễ là bé dùng mà bé khỏi chờ rồi có sĩ là chọc lì phăng phăng gì xứ bé khỏi chờ nhỏ giờ E.E. North Helm Avenue, number EGG, Fresno, California. Chua bé xà o xà. Thảo có mấy thu lò bụi bộ đang ngồi xong là hù tô cho bé Eternal Casket là sự khổng vư từ sa tông ya chi chua ý trào ý chua xà o chua ý trào ý chua xà o.
You're listening to the Central Valley's Asian Voice, AM 900 KBIF Fresno.
Valentine có cho cu chế có bộ chế kế lưu cho cu có bộ chế lưu cu lê thao cho kế lưu ta yo cu tu như Valentine cu chỉ mua có bộ nó cu lưu xóa cụ trên lưu trên nhau có tu thở trọ cả lưu của mà gian thì nữ Valentine luôn ra gọi là ấy lúa của lưu có lẽ xa Valentine của có muôn lệ ấy có tiếng ô tu chỉ bù là có chỉ lưu của lấy ta có sẽ lấy cha bù của mò ra nữ Valentine luôn ra gọi là ấy lúa của
Welcome back to Gen X Show. This song is called Valentine Con Dai Cu by Kathy Zhang by the Expired Band. Oh, I didn't even know this band existed. But again, this song is called Valentine Con Dai Cu by Kathy Zhang. Nuna ya lu all in the vendi ko pe shong tin ng plo lu sheta shna ya chi mong mu chi ya ta chandu chondu nam. And I have on air with me Elvis Tao calling in from Milwaukee. We're doing the art artist, the MC perspective from Thai Sounders. So if you guys are joining me, thank you so much. At the name to Facebook, do put in the comments below if you have any questions. If you have any dedication requests as well, you can do that. If you guys want to call in, 559-230-0900. If you guys don't have Facebook and want to tune in, you can tune in through our website, 900hmongradio.com, or download our app, AM 900 KBIF. So Elvis, are you still there?
I am. That song was kind of popping. I liked it. A little country like.
兩場更ใหญ่股呢, okay?
Talking about by Beyonce going country. Nice. Yeah, Beyonce going country. Okay.
It definitely had a kick to it, huh? A nice little different ring of it. So,
Southern Hmong.
So Elvis, let's go back into what I said. Hold on for just a bit. So now that we're back, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Tell me your perspective of MC and the artist's view.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have a Q&A at the end or no?
Nope. Just go for it. What is your train thought of it?
Yeah, I think MCs don't get as much respect, and that could be because of how MCs actually MC. But you understand that they don't just come out and announce people. They do a whole lot in the backdrop. You know, they run the itinerary. They're the ones that gather all the artists. There's a lot of logistics that goes on backstage for the artists. They're managing the time. And they're doing their homework. They have to study every artist. They actually, they have to know how to do their speech. And I've seen some MCs who do it really poorly. They just show up and they just say, "Oh yeah, this guy, yeah," and then they sit and they have a beer and then they come back out and, "Oh yeah, this guy's next," and then and that's all they do, right? I've even have MCs who never even came to me and asked me like, "Hey, how do you want me to present you?" And so like. We don't even talk to the day of, and to me, that's really poor. Right? I feel like you should be, having phone calls and things, months before the show. If you want to script it or improv it, it's really up to you. I do a little bit of both, but still, you want to be prepared, and then you want to know what's going on. You want to be, tied to the promoters every time. If you're in the meetings, even better. If you're not, that's fine, but you should always be following up and accountable, knowing what's going on. You don't want to bluff any, lines or any, make mistakes. I've even said people's names wrong, and especially some of the sponsors and stuff. So I feel really bad, but it's pretty tough.
It is. People don't realize MC work is a lot, and they just think, oh, you just go and read it. No, but if you don't even know how to read, if you don't know who is who, then you can't gather them together. Yes, everyone should know their lineup. Everyone should know when to come on. However, there are times where you still need to do more to make sure that everything flows and so forth. And some people do say that, that's not the MC job. It is the host. It is the promoters, their job to get everyone in line and doing that, right? But it's still the job of the MC to know what they're talking about. Impromptu or having a script, whatever works best for them. But that is a key essential part of emceeing. And I agree with you. I've seen some pretty good amount of MCs where it definitely looks like they have no connection, no interactions with any of the people there that they are supposed to introduce and bring up on stage or to the event. And when I see that and I hear that, I'm like, okay, you're just more monotone. There's no excitement bringing it out there. You're just reading by the dialogue. That's it. Robotic.
For me, it's a give and take. Sometimes emceeing can even be harder. Simply because, the rehearsals and the preparation for performing looks really hard, and sometimes it is. But at the same time, it's like, when you're at the show, you perform your 30-minute set or whatever, and then you're done, right? Like you're not doing anything before and after. So it's very different as well. When you're the MC, you're not resting the whole show, right? Sitting in between sets and stuff like that, sure. So you get, a little relaxed time, but it's not like you do your thing and then you're done, So there is it's very different sometimes where, where the MC preparation can be a little less, where you're not rehearsing all the time. So it could be easier, prior to the show, but it could be a lot harder during the show. So it's very different, because as an artist, I've had shows where I'm already prepared, to perform as an artist, and then I just pop and do 30 minutes and I'm done, right? So it's at the show could be very easy, but everything before the show could be very hard. For the MC, it could be the other way around, where, before the show would be very easy, but at the show it's very complicated. So it's kind of two different things sometimes. And sometimes it's the same, it's similar as well.
Now, saying that, what do you think about the audience versus the online, the actual live to the online only? Because I know people don't understand that online, hearing MC or hearing a show online is very different.
Yeah, it was. It was weird because, I would hear it was like night and day. Everyone that was there was like, oh my goodness, so awesome, best show ever, blah, blah, we had such a great time. It was so packed and so loud and blah. And then everyone online was like, oh, the show looked empty, it didn't seem that exciting and sounded bad and blah, blah. Even some people said, you didn't do that job of an MC, blah, blah. But then it's like, everyone that, I've seen in person or, that was online that was actually there was like, oh, my God, this was great. You did well, and all the acts were so great. So you kind of got, like, completely two different scenarios, And so it was kind of funny. I just felt like, this is the reason why you go to the shows, right? So I think there was a lot of miscommunication. When you're watching a video and you don't see the seats filled and you see everyone up front, well, that's the point. It was a seated show. So if everyone gets off their seats and they go to the front, it's still a packed house. It just might not look like that on, camera because people have left their seats. And so now they're more crowded in the front. And so, things like that. You miss a lot of detail, right, when you're not there live. So I felt like a lot of people didn't really know how to compare and contrast. But believe me, it was a great show. It was a great turnout. And everyone that was there was completely 100% in and invested. And there were good reviews all over the board.
What was your favorite part of emceeing?
I always wanted to say my monologue, so I really enjoyed that. For those of you who didn't watch or didn't know, I did a 10-minute monologue in the beginning of the show, and that was really fun. I've never done. So that was the first time for me. Me and the promoters, we talked about it. They wanted me to spice it up, and they're wondering like what creative things I had, and I said, dude. Like, I've been inspired a lot by, I study a lot of Chris Rock, and that's kind of like the Oscars, and then Joe Coy did the Oscars, this year, and so I watched a little bit of him as well, but mainly Chris Rock is a guy that, I studied for this, and I said, they always, because I said in the journal article that, I'm treating this like the Grammys, because I look at Ty like a Lifetime Achievement Award. And so I said, if they open up with a monologue, I want to open up with a monologue. And so I think I really enjoyed that, like putting that together. So even though I planned to be memorized, and by the time we started, I went off script and just completely improv. I studied enough for it to where I felt, confident enough to do it. So there were a lot of written parts mixed with a lot of just freestyle parts. I think I timed it. Hopefully I timed it well. But that part was the fun. It's great to introduce people as well. And I think we all agreed by the time they got to Ty, we didn't really need much of an introduction. So Ty was my easiest introduction. We just announced the band members real quick, and then I tipped my hat and said, okay, Ty, at that point, it didn't need to be a big moment anymore, Ty had his, they documented Ty's little piece there, 2-3 minute piece there as well anyway, so that already did my job for me. And so Ty's introduction was really simple, and it should be. I don't think that I think amping up everyone, climaxing to that point was already achieved. And so I'd have to say, even though it sounds selfish, but the opening monologue was my favorite part.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I actually thought that was a very good start. Because if you don't hype it up in the beginning, then it's harder to hype it up at the end or any part throughout the rest of the show, right? So how do you start a show if it's not hyped up? You have to start the show being hyped up, because if you don't, then it's going to be like, when is it going to come up, right? And everyone's going to have different experience also.
Yeah, that's the part too, though, was that it was a 10-minute piece. And so, it's hype for the moment, but it's also how much attention, that our audience will give that. So it was challenging because I don't know if our Hmong audience wants to listen to a 10-minute monologue. I don't know if that's ever been done at a concert. And so, I was a bit concerned, too, about how receptive it would be. But, to me, I don't focus on what, doesn't matter. My focus was that, look, like I wanted this thing to matter. And so, whether they responded or not, the point was to do what I chose to do. But, yeah, so I hope it was hyped enough because, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because they're waiting for the music. So are they impatient? Are they saying, okay, stop talking already? We want to hear the first act. Or was it like, wow, we're glad you did this? It wasn't too long. It was, it was fitting. It was entertaining, and it ventured into the next phase really well. And so I don't know. People complimented me that I did a good job, but it wasn't specific to that monologue. So I still don't know how that monologue was received. But I'm glad you're saying that it was hype enough and kept the attention flowing because that was my only concern, was how long our attention span was for that monologue at a concert of this depth. Yeah.
I think when people go to concerts, they're expecting a lot, right? They have high expectations of how is this going to go about, how are they going to carry on this long of a show, and so forth. So there is expectations, and 10 minutes, I didn't think it was that long with 10 minutes. I mean, I do this show for 2 hours, and I feel like I just started by the time I know I'm ending already. And so 10 minutes seems to me like a couple of seconds only, especially when you are entertaining how many people that were there, right? On top of those that are online. So the amount of people that you're entertaining, 10 minutes may sound long, but it's actually a very quick time for people to get in. Because as soon as you step off for a second, you probably miss 2 to 3 minutes already, right? And so when you come back on, it's like, boom, what did I miss? And so it goes by really fast. So I thought it went by really fast, the transition itself. To each act, it was pretty smooth. Even with the little time delayed, it still was a pretty smooth transition because I thought about, one, when there's a little of the breakthrough, the setting up, for example, right before Sudden Rush came on, right? Then they had to do that part. And then, and so that gave people moments to be like, okay, I'm going to run to the bathroom really quick and come back, right? So having those pauses was also a great moment for people to be like, I'm going to go get a drink and come back and so forth. And then they get to sit for a second or so forth and get ready for the next act. And that to me is pretty comfortable enough to just be a breather. Because going on straight, that gives you a lot of energy, but it's also very draining at the same time. And you don't realize it until the end of the night. We're going to do a quick commercial break, and when we come back, let's talk about the after party. Okay?
That and also the aftermath of more overall feedback.
Yeah. So we're gonna go on a quick break, you guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. And if you have any questions, by all means, put it in the comments below, and then we'll answer those questions to the best of our abilities. Otherwise, we're gonna continue to talk about and then to finish up the concert of Thai Sounders. This is from John Next.
Of Clovis, West Shaw Avenue, Clovis, California. Go to Satoya Gigi Dua Dao Dua Dao Bay Dao Yi Gigi Dua Dao Dua Dao Bay Dao Yi Yakata Tontia Chia Cheku Lashi certified use Bay Muan Dao Hing to Kasai Yachi Moluka Nia Bay Mamuntia Katao the Car Yan Jong Tuanchi Katao Ku Eko Tia Bo Bako Yamolu no Dachi Tahu Lashi Shao No Totaku Satoya Gigi Dua Dao Dua Dao Bay Dao Yi Gigi Dua Dao Dua Dao Bay Dao Yi Manjika Nyatoti Theater of Clovis.
Chain carpet cleaning. Há dầu có kho, có lúc khó chú, lúc tứ yên, tứ xìa, lúc chuôn số khăn giờ, lúc chua chia khăn giờ. thế sạch chuột dìa cho có lưu tu yên tú dìa khó trả lại tế giá dìa nhỏ khó tế cái đây ô lọ chỉ tù tỏ trái đây là yon đờ sinh bé cú bắt đầu con xua có lúc chế tế cả bé do tiền đi chụp hệ là do đu hành lợi xua tỏ như một khoa tua là yon xua có lúc chế hồ sĩ sư bé khó tàu water heater là do lúc tao đi cứu tí xì hồ tu trò bé nú nò chí chua chua xà gì ý chua bé chí chua chua xà gì ý chua bé chí chua xà gì ý chua bé chí
giờ này sao tao mình nhầm bùa rong cao càng gai yêu bể trong bố bó cử giờ sao tao cho mình nhầm bùa nó chen mua ở bể tu giờ mua tao sẽ đào sao tao giờ chua xà gì ý chua bé chí chua xà gì ý chua bé chí nếu như sao tao chế sao mới chế sao để nó bé chập bự ở chỗ đây ở chỗ nhỏ ở chỗ để chế thế giờ cái sao tao chế sao nó hút được chi chua bé xà chi bé tàu ở tàu chi chua bé xà chi bé tàu ở tàu nó trong California, giờ thì có trong cũ hoa đuổi nhà tôi chỉ tên chia, để có sắp báo thì giờ khởi cái nhà cho cả kia cho shit nào, sau cái trong sai giờ cái trang pháo thì để có tụ khen chứ, nó giờ cái chuyện gì uổng biểu ba có để trả, chủ chế họ suy nghĩ là cho nhiên tao chắc họ cũng một phỉ phong, chủ chế họ suy nghĩ tôi tên này có thể cho bỏ đua lì, phía họเคย nói giờ tới giờ họ có nông cho đi đa dư ta chỉ điều trong một thiên, việc thái có tên chia là được cái trang pháo phí đời dpfi.ca.gov/consumers, đó là number tôi có London, California, Department of Financial Protection and Innovation.
Rồi cho nên request the big phong give me chain hun the case vein tu kun yo.
Hãy subscribe
Ketogenic Show. Thank you, Miching, for requesting this song by Case Vane Tukunya. I have Elvis on air with me. We're going to continue and finish up on our topic from the concert that happened over on Saturday in Milwaukee, Thai Sounders finale. And it was a finale for sure. If you guys missed it and you guys want to go back and watch it, you can certainly find it on the Nyojong Milwaukee TV Facebook page. They do have about 5, almost 6 hours long of the show. So again, if you missed the show, you want to go back and watch it, definitely go back on Nyojong Milwaukee TV Facebook page, and you guys will be able to see that. I will slowly continue to post a little bit here and there as I go through my hundreds of photos and videos that I captured. And Elvis, with everything coming to the end, and we're like 3 days, 2 days out of it, are you having any withdrawal moments now from the show?
I wish I never did it. No, I'm just kidding. I do want to say, enjoy the live feeds while you have it, because as technology is changing with AI and all this stuff, who knows how long this stuff will be free, as we move to more streaming. So you guys enjoy it while you can, because the future of technology, these things might not, even though you're just streaming online, might not be so much free anymore. So just heads up. But no, the only withdrawal that I have is, it's not a withdrawal, I just want to explain to people, I think my most popular post, and of course Hmong, so I was attracted to this kind of post, but was about the alcohol post, okay?
Oh yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
I didn't even see it, but I did hear someone did message me about it. I'm like, the what? And then when we talked about it yesterday, I was like, okay. But yes, let's talk about that.
So yeah, I know I said it in a very sarcastic way, so people had mixed emotions about it. But we're Hmong people, we joke about this stuff, so I just said it sarcastically. But yes, according to what I did here, we were the most to ever sell alcohol in this venue. We topped that, and that's historic because there are actually a lot of firsts, right? That was the first song to ever play, and again, we tried. This was actually the first 6-figure budget ever on a Hmong production that was ever, made in concert history. So I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I just want y'all to know, if you're complaining about the $80 for the door, imagine what the promoters had to do to make this happen. So for you who can be considered to look at the other side, understand that your $80 is only complementing the 100, these 6-figure plus that these promoters already put into this show, the most in Hmong concert history, number one. And imagine if a production was that high in monetary value, imagine how much in time and effort that took, because the more you put in, obviously, the more work you have to do as well. So just want to be considerate of that. But for the alcohol post, there's comments of, oh, here we go again, like, we're not classy and, we should know better and blah, blah, blah. And, I agree with some of that. And, some of it is just, hey, we know what we signed up for. I no longer drink and stuff because, there's just certain ways that I want to act in certain places. So, I make those decisions. By the end of the day, we know what we're getting into. And, a lot of people were saying, well, this should have been done somewhere else, like at the rave and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, we did the rave 20 years ago. Like, we used to host Hmong New Year's there. We're not, this point of this wasn't to move backwards. Like, keep doing the thing. If anything, we did try to get the Turner Hall Ballroom. For those of you who know what the Turner Hall Ballroom, we thought that would probably be more fitting because it's kind of a medium between the Eagles Ballroom rave and Turner, and Riverside Theater. It was kind of a more upgrade from the Eagles Ballroom, but it wasn't complete intimate sit down historic vintage place like Riverside. But because it wasn't available, they pushed us to the Riverside. But and then when we knew it was the Riverside, we was like, actually, this is perfect because this gives us a whole new opportunity to do something we never done. And so then I felt like the level, because I don't think it was a 6-figure budget yet at that point. But when they saw the venue, they're like, dude, this thing is bigger than we think. So let's go all the way in. So then I think that's when we pushed to the 6-figure budget, and we realized that, look, profit or no profit. This is an all-in, and so
Go
if
big
you
or
don't,
go home.
yeah. So if you don't appreciate that, I mean, it is what it is. And then for the alcohol, as messy as it was, I have a personal friend that works in there. Several personal friends that work in there. So this wasn't just like strangers to me. And no, they complimented us. They said, yeah, it was messy. There were moments and blah blah, but like we've seen worse. And yes, we expect people to be more classy, blah blah. But like having you guys was something historic to us. We've never heard you before. We don't know. They even said we don't know why this wasn't done before. We were, like a lot of securities and stuff were like researching our music. A lot of workers there were interested and intrigued, and they complimented the talent. And it was a proud moment for all of them because they're like, man, we don't get this stuff all the time. This is really cool. And then people said that police came in and all that stuff, but I was told that police always come in after 10 p.m. anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So that was normal. And then I guess there were claims that employees walked out, but I was actually told that 10 p.m. is their cutoff. They can stay and work more. They can leave. They're not obligated to stay after 10. So, again, I don't know how true any of that is, but I just want to say that for those who thought maybe this thing was messy, and again, parts of it was, we're not going to say it was that well-oiled, but it did, but we did set the standard. It did. If it sounded bad to you, just believe that it wasn't. I haven't heard any complaints to this day, and so I think it was a smooth operation, even with the little hiccups. And if you're wondering why, wow, there's no fights, and well, let me tell you something. That's because of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you set a standard, you set a bar, and you make that statement. Yeah, can fights still happen? Of course, you can't control that. It still could have happened, but remember that this was done not by chance. This was done by design. So if you're wondering if you're surprised, well, it shouldn't be a surprise neither, because look at the standard that we set. Look at the point that we made. Of course, there was a little more appreciation. There was a little more, people came here for a particular purpose. And when you do things like that, it sets the right tone to make people want to feel more peaceful, more connected. And in that sense, again, it was done by design. It's not done by chance where it's just like, well, there just happened to not be a fight. No. It would be the other way around, where we expect not to have a fight. And then maybe by chance there would be a fight, not the other way around. So, when you do the right thing, you get the right outcome.
Absolutely. And those who have the intention to move, why go? You want that much attention that you have to go do that to destroy something else, it's dohena. But, I think from the many people that I spoke with, they all had fun. They all enjoyed it. And going back into the ticket price, y'all. Yi cho ron la te cho ron la te ipo chi kyo ni chi na. You so think about handbags, materialistic stuff, right? Some people buy their shoes like $200 for a pair of Nikes or Jordans or whatever, right? You're not complaining about that. Or you go to EDC.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, and you're going to EDC or you're going to other thing. You pay for what you get. I mean, you want to go do something different. But when you're going to start complaining about Hmong events at the Niki, that is why Hmong chỉ做show, Hmong chỉ做game, because and there is no support in that, and that falls back into today's theme. We are there to encourage and support. And you go because you're going to encourage them to continue to do more and be more, right? And, I felt like the tickets, they were under. I actually felt it was under because of the venue itself. The venue itself, you already know it's not even close to that. If you're going to go to another facility, when people start to dive into when people really look into the business aspect of things, they're not going to see the numbers until they start looking at stuff. That is when they will see. But because people don't look at venues, they don't look at costs, they don't look at this and look at that, they don't ever know what it is. So this, I definitely know it was not a gain. But the one thing that I loved about Thai, it was that this is for the fans. This is for everybody that's been supporting. And it's not just to Thai, but to everybody that is there. You do it because it's a passion, and you do it to give back. And those who went, they had the best of the best. those who didn't go, guess what? You can never go back again. That moment is gone.
So I'm going to throw this back at the audience, and I'm going to say, if you had a problem with that, it's because it's personal to you. What I mean by that is saying, for those who value Hmong music at that level, don't have a single problem, right? But for the ones who don't value, yes, then there's a complaint. Well, but that's the difference between those who actually value Hmong music and those who don't. In other words, would you want to see Panya as bad as you would want to see Beyonce? To some Hmong people, they would say yes. Right? To some, like, oh, she's not Beyonce. Well, that's your opinion, right? You want to see Thai more than you would want to see, like, the Wallflowers or something. I'd rather see Thai over the Wallflowers, but that's just, and I've seen the Wallflowers and I love them. But, that's just my thing. It's like, it's really how, it's like, you guys aren't putting more music on the pedestal, but, well, we feel that way, right? That's your opinion, not ours. And so, to us, we value this. It's like, I heard rumors about how some people never left the bar. People came to the show, paid the $100, and then got stuck at the bar all day and didn't even see the show. And it's like, that's crazy. You could have drank at Moe's Irish Pub down the street for free. But then again, we also had the other ones who were like, no, we did not leave the floor. We were here for 6 hours straight. We did not. We watched the entire concert without moving, and those are the quality ones that we care. I can't judge or give opinion on those that I felt it was otherwise. Like I'm not going to comment on that. All I know is that we're grateful and appreciate for the ones that were the right audience, that were like, no, we're serious about this show. We paid our money to see every minute of it, and that's what melts your heart, and that's what gives all the justification of why we did this.
But you know what? I also feel like those who didn't leave the bar is because as soon as they left, someone else came and they saw more and more people, right? I heard so many people say, oh my gosh, I didn't know this, they were going. And then they see each other, they're like, we didn't know you guys were coming. And so that was probably what happened at the bar, is that as soon as they left, they saw someone else coming. They went back. And as soon as they were going to go, somebody else came.
If you came for a show, you got to fight your way to get back to your seat.
Yeah, it is what it is. But sometimes when when you have fun in that one area, you have fun. It doesn't matter where you are. True. And I was actually hoping that there would be more people showing up, but I already knew that it was going to be the amount of people that came. I knew it was going to be about that number amount. But those who didn't go, they missed it. This is a once in a lifetime show. This is a moment that you can never get back. You can never feel it. You can watch it online. You can go back and rewatch it, but it's not the same as if you were there in person. The whole experience is totally on a different level. Just like, for example, Super Bowl. Those who went to Super Bowl, right? They can say, this is a one-time experience. Yes, they will come back and speak about it, right? More and more. Same thing with this. This was a experience that if you didn't go, you definitely missed out. And I look forward to the next big Hmong event like this, because I do want to see people dressed up. And that was something I was really happy to see, that some people were really dressed up, and then some people were just in jeans and t-shirts. But whatever float their boat, whatever, made them, you and I, we were dressed up a little bit. And your first outfit change was more casual, and then when you changed outfit, I thought you were really, really handsome. I mean, I think you're handsome anyways, but the change of clothes also
thank you.
Put you in a different. I feel like when we're in a different outfit, it brings us out in a different way as well. And so with that, the venue itself, tickets from the bar to the attendings to everybody behind the scene and everybody on the scene was a huge impact to what Tseut and Tsanga is.
Yeah, the approach was it was good. Everyone came with the right approach.
Yeah.
And then everything after the concert was phenomenal too, if you want to move into that.
Yep, let's go right into that.
The connection with all the artists just after, everything ended, it felt like family. Everything was good. You and me, we went to the house. It wasn't. You normally go back to this loud after party. That we're all drunk and then music's loud and we're dancing and everyone's just screaming and it wasn't that at all. We actually didn't even have any music on. Shu was just playing a little bit. Like something serenading in the background. Just for white noise. But
I love the intimacy of it.
Yeah, it was great. We had some great conversations. Sudden Rush. They were talking about how they first played with Ty, and then later on they played with Kong and Shu, and then later on they played with Panya, and then later on, and they talked about how all the pieces now were
connected
right
together.
In one show, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. And so, and we talked about our struggles as musicians and family and all these different things, and no one was pissed drunk. We slowly poured shots and had one, champagne and things, and it was a very mature, intelligent, a valuable moment. And again, these deep connections, are what really, really fuels my soul. And this is why we do it. The concerts are great. It's great to see everyone play, but this type of connection is priceless. We had a beautiful moment.
It sure was, and it's something that I feel like we learned a lot from each other, and just that sitting itself that we didn't know before. We can be with people, but we don't really know them until we start to be in more of an intimate setting, and we find out more about the ways. Like, for example, when Pat had asked, what inspires you to write music, right? And I love that. I love that was a discussion that was brought up. And then especially when Ty just started, sharing away, and I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I recorded that part, by the way, because that was something that you just don't ever see. And again, that definitely was a good ending. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone was super exhausted. I hope you caught up on your sleep from the event, from the weekend. And, I look forward to the next big event, to the next really big event.
Yeah, and if you didn't think this fueled, again, like what Pat said, you think this isn't going to spread the fire, oh, trust me, these promoters ain't sitting here talking about, oh, my God, I can't believe this was so hard, we're never going to do this again. Hell no.
No, this one now is going to be hype them up even more.
We were like, well, bigger things are coming, so, and we're going to try things that we've never done before. I'm not going to leak a lot of secrets, but it could be some more outdoorsy stuff. It could be some more intimate stuff. It could be some more louder stuff. It could be some week-long stuff, camping out and stuff. It could be different types of venues and different areas that we've never been to.
Just be open-minded. That's all what it comes down to. Be open-minded.
There's going to be some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Elvis, anything else you want to share before we end the show? Time is almost up for us here.
That's it. I just wanted to get a little last teaser there, like, watch for it. Don't think we're tired and exhausted. Oh, yeah, we are for a day or two. And then after that, the fuel burns again. So every time you hit a ceiling, you find a new ceiling. And so just hang on. Hang on to your horses.
All right, so Elvis Hall from Milwaukee. Again, he was the MC, and I appreciate Elvis joining in and just giving his personal feedback from the show. But have a wonderful evening, you guys, and remember to say what you mean what you say, and do with actions, because words are meaningless when actions are not shown. This is Ray Michelle on Gen X Show, KBIF 900 AM, Fresno. Good night.